welcome to the Brief Log. I'm here with me, Bree. So last week we were talking at the end a little bit about the road to jaw surgery and where I am now. And I have to say, as far as having my braces, it has definitely been an interesting run. I finally have figured out how to eat things properly, which is helpful. Because at first I thought that I would be deprived. That's a little obnoxious there, but still, I felt like I'd be deprived of my favorite foods. But luckily, I have found a way to eat what I love still, as long as it's not something as crunchy as a carrot, even though I love carrots. But I could always have heated up carrots, even though I hate those, which is kind of weird. Anyway, I digress. So with that being said, I just saw the ortho recently. We did a tightening. In the beginning of this whole situation, I was not going to put on color on my braces because I thought that would be weird as an adult having colorful braces, which is kind of funny because if you know me, I do cosplay, so why I wouldn't be okay with color on my teeth, I don't know. I think I just thought it would make me look even more young because with these braces, I feel like a 15-year-old. But I decided to go with lavender, and I have to say, I really do like the lavender, and I'm glad I went with it. So what is next for me with this journey? The last time we discussed it, I just got them put on. I was talking about how I felt with them on. Right now, I feel a lot better. I'm starting to get used to it. And this last tightening wasn't as bad as the initial putting the braces on. The thing is that it sounds like our next step is going to be putting on the next size in the wire. So they're going to put on a new wire. They're going to add basically a retainer at the top so that the teeth form toward it. I think that's how I understood it, or what she said. And she did say in the beginning of this, I'm going to have a lisp at first because it's not going to be something I'm used to with the braces and this retainer thing in my mouth. So that's going to be interesting with the podcast because I've been thinking about this. The more hardware we put in my mouth, and including when the lower teeth, because eventually I have to get braces for the lower teeth, I feel like, man, I don't know if we would be able to talk. Sometimes even just talking now on the podcast, I have such a hard time with the way that my mouth moves with the braces. So sometimes you hear me making it like a weird little sound with it. So it's going to be very interesting to have more hardware going in my mouth. But the whole point of this is the end result, right? So I am really excited because I am starting to see change. I've been sharing that journey in my stories on Instagram and on my Facebook. And I really do feel like there are a lot of changes that are happening. And the teeth so far, the front two had a gap, and that gap is closing. My canines were tilted, and they're starting to turn. And I think this next step is supposed to help the teeth. Basically, they were kind of looking like they were shooting out straight ahead. And honestly, if I would have left them alone, they would have continued to just keep shooting out. But basically the overbite portion. But it seems like this piece of hardware is going to help them be in the position that she needs them to be in, so that when we do move the lower jaw forward, the bite is exactly where it needs to be. Because in order for me to get the surgery done, everything has to be lined up exactly where it needs to be, and they all need to be straight and ready to go. which makes sense because if you think about it, if they tried to move my lower jaw now and have my teeth the way that they are, it wouldn't line how that bite wouldn't be proper. So it is kind of nice to have them really, just watching them make my teeth better. Now, let's talk about the negative side of the braces a little bit. Not because, you know, I need to highlight that, but I bring it up because I want to be real with this process. I don't want to be like, everything's so perfect and great. Because there are things that are happening that I didn't expect. For example, apparently, when your teeth are moving, it is very possible to have inflammation of your gums where they kind of like look like almost little puffy clouds. That's what they look like to me anyway. And at one point, because braces are really hard to use, well, it's before I heard about the platypus thing. So there's this little tool that helps you floss with your braces on. But at one point in time, I didn't have it. I was using the little needle thread looking thing, which that took me forever. So I'm going to be honest, I got bored doing the top of my teeth with the flossing. Well, in between my canine and the other tooth next to it, it started developing this little, it looks like almost like a little pocket of my gum with some fluid in it. That's what it looks like. I don't think that's what it is, but well, I know it's not because that's not what they said. But anyway, my dentist was like, oh, that's gingivitis. So you're going to have to really get in there, not only with actual floss, because I thought that I could get away with the water flosser. Now, for those of you that are dental assistants, and for those of you that are about your teeth, I know it sounds horrible that I wanted to rely on the water flosser, but it took me like so long to do the top braces before I even learned about the platypus thing. If I would have known that that existed, we would be in a better situation right now. But that's what my dentist said. So then I went to the ortho though, and I asked them, I said, how long does it take for something like this to calm down? Because right now my gums are so inflamed. One of them has that pocket thing looking, and the other side, just they look like little puffy clouds. And according to them, they're like, oh, that's just inflammation from my teeth moving. So I'm a little confused if it's gingivitis or if it's the inflammation, but regardless of what it is, I have upped my personal hygiene game. Where before, and it's not that I didn't have it, I'm just saying I tried to rely on the water flosser at the top. But now my regimen is kind of insane. But basically I've got the platypus, I don't even know what to call it again. The platypus thing. And if you guys do have braces, I highly recommend this platypus thing because it goes right between the wire and you don't have to do the whole sewing kit kind of flossing. And so I'll start with that. Well, actually, I first start with the water flosser. Then I brush my teeth. Then I do the platypus flossing at the top and regular flossing at the bottom. And then I use this stuff, basically has peroxide and a mouthwash together in it in hopes that it's going to take down the inflammation. I don't know. It's what online said. Sorry to those of you, but I did Google it because I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And the dentist and the ortho were just like, it's going to go down eventually. And I'm over here like, well, it's got to go down soon because how am I supposed to smile? Not that I was smiling in pictures, but I smile when I laugh and I don't feel comfortable now smiling or laughing. So basically, I've got this new regimen. And then after that, I will use the regular mouthwash. Oh, no, the water flosser again, and then the regular mouthwash because I was so worried that this inflammation is going to get worse. Because this is the thing, you should not Google this kind of stuff. Because in the beginning, before I went to the dentist, I thought I had an abscess. So I thought they're going to have to drain this thing out. And then after that, when I looked up inflammation of the gums, because I was trying to find solutions for this issue, I saw people's gums growing over their braces. And I'm like, what the heck? And then they talked about how you're going to do this certain like procedure to get them, I don't know, fixed. So Google is not your friend, but I'm doing this regimen because I'm so worried that this isn't going to get better. And I only say this because when I saw both the dentist and the ortho, they both had different answers of what it could be. And the other thing was, they never gave me a time frame. I kept asking him, like, how long do you think it will be before this inflammation comes down? Especially since, like, I work from home and that's really nice. I don't see a lot of people, but when I do see people, I don't want to smile and look like a weirdo either. And my hygiene is 100%, I'd say probably even more extreme than anything. And it doesn't matter. People be like, oh gosh, can't even take care of our teeth, So I know that you shouldn't worry about what other people think, but that's the thing. I mean, that's what happens when you have body dysmorphia. You worry about your biggest critic and you let other people criticize you. Now, am I in a stronger position with myself? 1,000%. But you've got to understand too that every time my body changes, every time I see something different, it's going to be a new step of getting myself through it and working through that step. So it's been kind of difficult with the teeth in particular. But I keep reminding myself that at the end of the day, there's a reason for these braces. And in the long run, it's going to be worth it all. And I did read online too, eventually when you take your braces off, that all of this calms down. Also, I learned that potentially because of my pregnancy, that could also be why everything is so extra. Because I do remember reading how with pregnancy, your teeth are more almost like vulnerable to issues versus when you're not pregnant. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I started this whole process, because remember, my whole goal was to get pregnant. So I worked on my mental health, my physical health, my nutrition. And I knew that my teeth needed to be a part of it too, because I had read a lot about pregnancy prior to being pregnant. I read about the signs and symptoms, the things that you go through, the things that people don't talk about. And one of them was your teeth and how your teeth health isn't that great when you're pregnant. So part of me is hoping that maybe the inflammation is a little mixture of everything here, where they're inflamed, and that my new regimen is going to help bring down the inflammation and gingivitis, if that is also what it is, which they said it could be too, and being pregnant. So with all this being said, we are on track to surgery. They have projected that it will happen in the spring of next year, maybe. We don't have a solid date yet, but I think as the teeth continue to move forward and continue to do what they're doing, because I guess so far it's been successful, I mean, I shouldn't say I guess because I have seen the changes, but with the plan that my ortho has and my surgeon have, it seems as though we're on the right track, which is very important. So with that being said, if I continue to go forward with where we're going, it's looking like that projection will happen. And by spring next year, basically this time, I should have at least the jaw surgery portion of this done. Now, that doesn't mean that my braces life will be over, because they're going to have to do some final touches to make it be perfect, quote unquote. And I'm going to have to get the retainers figured out as well then. So with all that being said, we're on the right track. We're going forward with where we need to go. What's amazing is that the first time around, they did use our insurance to see if I could potentially be covered. There is a possibility that it can happen. The only thing was that the insurance did say that it was okay. But the problem is that I will not have the surgery done within the time frame that they had. So the girl that is in charge of the finances from the surgeon side, she is going to try again toward that year that we're projecting to have it done. And hopefully we get approved again. We'll see. So fingers crossed on that, because my mouth right now is going to cost me a lot of money. It already has. It's cost me a lot of money. So anywhere that we can save some kind of something with insurance is so beneficial and helpful. But we're on a good road. We're going forward. For those of you that have been able to see the before and after shots, you can really tell that things are happening. And it's really exciting. I'm happy that people told me to take photos of this process, because you don't really realize how much has changed until you look at photos and you see, wow, this is where my teeth started, the braces, and this is where my teeth are now. And I'm starting to see the changes, and it's getting me excited, even with this inflammation, gingivitis, confusion. So, well, I don't know if it's confusion, but just, with all these changes, I know that in the long run, it's worth it. And I wanted to update everyone on this because it's been a while since we've talked about my road to jaw surgery. And I think, I've been able to bring you guys along my pregnancy run, along the road to jaw surgery. So it's really exciting to continue this process with everyone and share it. And if any of you have tips that have braces, that have seen this inflammation that has happened, please feel free to message me, because I am open to suggestions. My regimen may sound a little wild right now, but I'm still willing to add other things because I want this to go down. I want to be able to smile again. And for the amount of time that I'm going to wear braces, I really don't want this inflammation for life. Well, the whole time the braces are here. I do appreciate those of you that have added me to the adult braces groups on Facebook. They have been wonderful. They're actually the reason why I'm using the hydrogen peroxide mouthwash, because Google was not helpful at all. Google made it sound like you better go to your dentist and they're going to have to do this and that. But when I talked to the dentist, she was so nonchalant about it. So I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, I'm so thankful and grateful for all of you coming along this journey with me. It's so appreciative to have you a part of my life, a part of my baby's life. And with that being said, I did get to hear my baby's heartbeat today. So if you want to check that out, that is on my Instagram. And it's just very exciting. A lot of cool things are happening. a lot of changes, a lot of where are we going next, things going on, but it's been awesome. It's been hard and it's been beautiful. And I'm so happy to have all of you with me. With that, you are loved, you are worthy, you are cherished, and I am proud of you. Until next time, on the Breed Pod.